The alarm cut through the stillness of the firehouse like a knife. Structure fire, 182 Willow Lane, no occupants reported. Firefighter Mark Harris bolted upright in his bunk, his heart skipping a beat. Willow Lane. He had heard the older guys talk about it before, always in hushed tones, always with that same haunted look in their eyes. As the fire truck sped through the quiet streets, Mark couldn't shake the feeling gnawing at his gut. Something about the address felt wrong. The fire had already swallowed the night sky by the time they arrived. Thick black smoke curled from the windows of the old abandoned house. "All right, same drill," Captain Ramirez called out, scanning the building. "It's been empty for years, but we sweep it anyway." Mark exchanged a glance with his partner Ryan. "This place gives me the creeps, man," Ryan muttered under his breath. Mark nodded but said nothing. He could feel it too. Something wasn't right. Inside, the heat was suffocating. Flames curled along the walls, casting eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. The team spread out, searching each room methodically. Then Mark saw it. Written in the soot on the living room wall, scrawled in long, uneven letters, was a name. Reeves. Mark stopped dead in his tracks, his throat tightening. Captain Reeves, he had died in a fire years ago. Ryan stepped beside him, his eyes wide. "What the hell?" "Maybe someone's idea of a sick joke," Mark muttered, though his voice wavered. They moved deeper into the house, but the writing continued. Names scratched in soot, smudged by the heat. Jackson? Miller? Carter? Mark's breath came faster. He knew these names. They were all firefighters from their station. Dead firefighters. A cold sweat broke out beneath his turnout gear. "Cap!" he called through the radio, his voice tight. "We've got something strange here." "Keep moving," Ramirez ordered. "Clear the building first." But Mark couldn't take his eyes off the walls. Then he saw it, his own name, Harris. Scrawled across a broken mirror in thick black soot, his blood ran cold. Behind him, the fire flared suddenly, bursting up the walls as if it had been waiting for him to notice. The radio crackled to life with static. Then, through the interference, a voice whispered, "Get out!" Mark spun around, scanning the burning room, his pulse hammering. Ryan grabbed his arm. "Mark, we have to move!" Shaking himself free of the fog of fear, Mark nodded, and they pushed forward. The flames curled unnaturally, almost hurting them toward the back of the house. And then they found it. A pile of old melted firefighter gear in the center of the charred kitchen. A helmet with the name C. Reeves barely legible beneath layers of soot. Mark's heart seized. It had been 20 years since Reeves died in this place. He knelt, reaching out to touch the helmet, when the fire flared again, this time with a violent intensity that sent Ryan stumbling back. "Something's wrong, Mark." He knew it too. The flames didn't just burn here. They remembered. Upstairs, the air grew thicker, suffocating. Every window was black with smoke, and the walls seemed to pulse with heat. Then the voices started again, soft at first. "You left us." Mark whipped his flashlight around, the beam cutting through the thick haze. Nothing but shadows, yet the words echoed from everywhere. "You left us!" His hands trembled. He had never left anyone behind. Had he? He thought of Reeves, how he had been on the crew that day, how they had tried to reach him, but the fire had been too fast, too hungry. A door at the end of the hall creaked open, revealing a room untouched by flames. Inside, written in blackened soot across the walls, were all their names again. His, Ryan's, Ramirez's. But something was different this time. Beneath them was one more name, a name that hadn't been there before. Mark Harris, 12:06 a.m. Mark's blood turned to ice. That was right now. "Ryan, we need to leave. Now!" They bolted for the stairs, but the flames shifted as if alive, closing off their escape. The fire danced around them, spelling out letters in the air. Mark grabbed Ryan's arm and dragged him through the thick smoke, hacking and choking, his heart hammering. They burst through the front door just as the structure groaned and collapsed behind them in a cascade of embers. Falling to his knees, Mark ripped off his mask, coughing. Ramirez was in his face. "What the hell happened in there?" Mark looked back at the smoldering ruins. He didn't have an answer. But in the faint glow of the embers, he saw it. His name burned into the foundation, faint but still there. Harris. In the weeks that followed, Mark couldn't shake the feeling of something watching him. At the station, the smell of smoke clung to his gear longer than it should have. Then one night, while alone in the firehouse locker room, his radio crackled to life. Static. Then a voice. "You left us." He turned slowly toward the mirror. There, written in soot, was a new name. Harris, 12:06 a.m. The lights flickered, and in the reflection, Mark saw a figure standing behind him, dressed in turnout gear, charred and burned beyond recognition. And it whispered, "It's not over." They called another fire at 182 Willow Lane a freak accident. Mark quit the force soon after, unable to shake the voices, the faces, and the smoke, but no matter where he went, the fires kept happening, and every single time, as he watched from a distance, he swore he saw his name written in the flames.